All right, in this section of your business plan, this is organization and management. Who does what in your business? Remember, we talked about the whole company structure. Now you've thought this out, and let's say you want to be the CEO. Great, who's going to be your CFO? Who's going to be your chief finance officer? The person that really knows accounting, banking, taxes, all that kind of stuff. The money coming in, the money going out, accounts payable, accounts receivable. Who's going to do that? Or is that your thing and someone else is going to be the CEO? Or are you going to be both? And then do you have a manager that helps in some ways? Do you have a sales manager? Very little happens on this planet without sales. So we absolutely need salesmen. And maybe you're a good salesman. Maybe that's what you want to do. I know a company where the CEO and president spends almost all of his time, energy, focus, direction on sales. And he's just lucky that he has a lot of good clerical people backing him up, because he spends very little time. He spends very little time on the mechanics of his business, on the financials, on trying to figure out the profit margin or any of that kind of stuff. He just wants to go sell to the customer, make sure the customers. He hires salespeople to go sell, and they're just kind of hourly. But he develops a lot of customers and gets a lot of market share wherever he goes. But anyway, who does all those things in the business? What is their background, and why are you bringing them into the business as board members or employees? We haven't talked about board members. I just realized that. So you should have a board of directors, and it doesn't have to be people that are really in your business. It usually is not. But it's people that you think have a lot of wisdom, and they serve on the board, and they help make decisions related to your company. Obviously, if you're a sole proprietor, this isn't as important, but I still think you ought to get counsel even if you don't have someone on the board.
Is a group of people who jointly oversee the activities of a company. For-profit businesses, non-profit organizations, and government agencies have a board of directors. In public companies, the board of directors is a group of people who the shareholders elect to establish company policy. Board members must also make decisions on key issues. They should represent the interests of the management. The board of directors has many functions. Here are some of them. It decides on whether shareholders get dividends and how much they will be. Board members approve annual budgets, and they appoint, support, and assess the CEO. Board members hire and fire top executives, and they decide on executive compensation. Board members also establish broad company policies.
Steve Jobs started up the company Apple, he and Steve Wozniak. He had the dynamic personality. He made everything happen. And then one day, the board of directors said that he was damaging his own company, and they voted him out of his own company. So, and whether they were right or wrong is still up to debate. I think he had to kind of learn some lessons, but eventually, about 3 or 4 years later, he came back and they hired him back as CEO, and he essentially took over the Apple company again until he died. But board of directors can absolutely vote you out of your own business. As a matter of fact, if you ever want to watch that great old Christmas movie, It's a Wonderful Life, there's a scene in there about the board of directors, and now it'll mean more to you when you watch it. Okay, so all these people, what are they responsible for? The people reading your business plan want to know who's in charge, so tell them. And by the way, what I just said always comes up. Every time I've been in a meeting where we're talking about who the company structure, who makes up the company structure, they always want to know about the financial officers. And that's not where I'm strong. Had some classes, know some of the basics, but I always hire it out. But if I'm smart, the next time I actually want to pitch a big idea, I will have my CFO with me, standing shoulder to shoulder with me at my side, answering all those questions. Because investors and people that are working with any kind of a company in any situation want to know that you're on strong financial footing. I was videoing a city council meeting. We used to put all the city council meetings on live on SFCN here in Spanish Fork. I mean, they still do, but I used to be the guy in charge of that. And after a long pitch from Kent Clark, who essentially is the city's CFO, the mayor said, "Okay, thank you very much." And I knew the mayor only understood, to be kind, about half of what Kent Clark was talking about with all of the money that comes and goes through the city. The budget is phenomenal. But at the end, the mayor simply said, okay, thank you. It's good to know we have someone who knows how to mind the store. That was just kind of a fun old colloquial phrase from a good old boy mayor. Someone who knows how to mind the store. Okay, your service or product line. Describe your service or product, emphasizing the benefits to potential and current customers. Again, sort of the same thing we've talked about, but if they want to know more details on the service or product, this is where you put it in. And focus on why your particular product will fill a need. Some of the same territory, there's just another section to put it in. Describe your MVP, your minimum viable product. We haven't talked very much about this. I'll read it and then we'll talk about it. A minimum viable product, MVP, most valuable player, is a version of a product with just enough features to satisfy early customers and provide feedback for future product development. Let's go to the automobile industry. You're going to make a car, and you want to make a car that is a little bit unique. But let's say we've got a solar-powered car. Now we say, here are all the cool things we think we should put into this car. Man, it's going to be so cool. We're going to have this and this and this and this and this. It can be a stick shift, or you can put the stick shift away and just drive it as an automatic. You know, all those things. These are all the wishes. Well, you've got the price up over $100,000 on the car by the time you're done. So what is the minimum viable product? Well, the first thing you say is, we are going to be the first entirely solar-powered car. You don't have to plug it in at a charging station like you have to with a well, not have to, but which you typically do with a Tesla. So, and it goes really fast, and that's enough. Right there, that's enough. You have a solar-powered car that charges on its own. You don't spend money on gas, or probably hardly any money on oil, although I understand there are some moving parts that still have to be oiled even in Teslas. So I'm going to say that's probably your minimum viable product. Now you go on and you say, well, it'd be nice to have a steering wheel. Okay, I'm just kidding. Got to have a few other things. But what is the minimum viable product that people will buy? And then you might come out later with a deluxe version. Okay, we're back to marketing and sales. Define your marketing strategy. We haven't talked about this for a few days. This is where you talk about how do you reach your customer. Is it social media? Is it traditional advertising? If you say it's word of mouth, that doesn't qualify for a business plan, although you can show that in this particular industry, that's how most people buy things. I used to argue that advertising movies and movie trailers is great and everything, but it's really the word of mouth that sells a movie, and particularly to women. But you've still got to generate that word of mouth. You've still got to generate something that starts it, like a video. No video goes viral on YouTube if some strategy didn't start it. And it's also been said you can never predict what's going to go viral on YouTube. I actually disagree with that. There are a lot of things that go into why a video goes viral, and you can, to some extent, say whether or not you've got a potential for that. But anyway, getting back to this. Your marketing strategy. Again, think about how you're going to reach your target audience and write that down.